Thinking about all the untapped digital power we got, wondering if the Bahamas ready to compete in a high-tech driven future? Pause, think about it with intentional thought, and consider where we go from here. What if cybersecurity and AI weren't just buzzwords, but cornerstones to building a smart 242? Stay tuned. We're sitting down with tech visionary Noel Johnson, principal consultant at Consolidated Technologies. He'll be dropping a lot of nuggets on the table. How cybersecurity is the foundation for digital trust, how AI can empower Bahamian businesses to scale smart, why tech entrepreneurship is the heartbeat of a digital new built environment, what we need to do to secure the $100 billion economy I always talking about, robust networks, and a sustainable future. Retelling our tech identity now, Bahamian innovators, Caribbean creators. We the lion, entrepreneurship is the raw.
Something to think about with Dale Happy Knowles. What we think, we become. What we radiate, we attract. What we imagine, we surely can achieve. Let's change the narrative, 242.
Welcome to Something to Think About with Dale Happy Knowles. And as I said before, today we have Noel Johnson on here, the visionary himself. This is a man who is very quiet, folks. You don't hear much about him. He ain't the one to boast, he ain't the one to scream, he ain't the one to shout all over the place, telling you what all he could do and what all he can do. But trust me, this man fingertips all over the Bahamas, even if you don't know, because digital is all over the Bahamas, even if you don't know. So you need to get on board with the digital role, and maybe, just maybe, your paths could cross with his, and you could be accelerated into something great. And that's what we want to talk about tonight, how we could leverage what we have in order to build this $100 billion economy. And so I want to welcome to the show Noel Johnson. Noel, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Happy, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm glad that you would take the time to sit with us little muckamucks and figure out how we could move this thing forward. Because I know you got your hands on some stuff that would blow people's minds around this Bahama land if they were to really know what was going on in the digital arena and what can happen from building yourself. Because there's a lot of things that's happening that negative. You know, we like to talk about negative all the time, but on this show, we like to talk about the positive and the opportunities. And what we want you to tap into is how people could use these facilities. You could use cybersecurity and AI and digital and all those things to build other avenues for people, and particularly the Gen Ys and Zs who are native to these spaces, so that they could become more productive in creating their own way of generating revenue.
Yes, thanks, Happy, for the opportunity. First and foremost, to your audience, artificial intelligence, primarily machine learning, it's a tool that we can use in all of our businesses to gather intelligence and information we can scale through business intelligence and information gathering. To date, most Bahamian business owners and entrepreneurs don't actually use the power of information. So we have to first get into the mind frames of data collection. Okay, AI is only as smart as the information that we give it. Machine learning is only as intelligent and information based on the information that we give it. Those two technologies go hand in hand, but they play a significant role in persons being able to build and scale their business. And so to reach this $100 billion economy, as so eloquently put it, we have to now start investing in ourselves first and foremost, and use the AI as a tool, machine learning, to help build and scale our business to a point where we can see added value. To give an example, you can have the Bahamas is pretty much a consumer market. So we consume. Bahamians consume. For the average business owner, if you would have asked them in a retail store, how many customers do you have? What do they buy? How much do they spend? They can't tell you. But these are basic questions. They have in front of them a point of sale system that is a tool for information gathering, not just cash in, cash out. Okay? So if a customer comes to a register, we don't gather telephone numbers, email addresses, and even marketing can use these tools in order to help scale the business. Because if we do one-on-one marketing, you are far more likely to scale your business than just basically we call an IT spam. Because you're giving information, you're reaching out to customers who have no interest in your goods or service. But the information gathering process starts from the minute you open your doors. All right? AI and machine, these are just tools to be able to analyze this database to tell you who is buying what, when, how often, how much do they spend. You can know what to buy, what not to buy, how much to buy. And this is just an example, just from a retail perspective, but this goes with any business. All right? We have to know our customers. All right? Because the average person, we are not paying attention. We have too many things going on. But if you have the tools necessary in your environment that can analyze these databases, spit out reports that you can use for marketing campaigns, etc., analytics, business intelligence. These are the things we need to be focused on across the board. All right. On the flip side, artificial intelligence, machine learning, these technologies, we use these for our daily, queries, writing papers. And to me, that's the negative. All right. Because we're using the technology in a way where it's not conducive to our growth and development as human beings. We use it as a shortcut in most cases. But from a business perspective, if we take advantage of these tools from a business perspective, you can see where we can scale our business 20, 30, 40%, because we have the ability now to use these tools available to us to be able to scan through tons of data, big data. All right. We use it for social media. Artificial intelligence is built into everything. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you name it. It knows what do you like, what you don't like, and it changes on the fly.
Yeah.
All right. You can watch one video, all of a sudden, you like gyms. If you start search for a gym or workout video, it shows you more whatever it is you're interested in.
More of everything, right?
More of everything, right? And so it's just basically getting to a point where we actually learn how to use these tools instead of having these tools use us primarily.
Yeah. So when I look at that, and you drop a lot on the table just now, I always say to people, these are tools, right? And the tools to be used for our benefit. And so we are, people are afraid that they can take the job and this and all that kind of stuff. But use the tools to upscale yourself, make yourself stronger, make yourself more viable, make yourself more marketable to companies that you're working with, or better still, if you have the knack, to use it in your entrepreneurial environment so that you could boost your operations. Because these tools will 10x or 100x or 1,000x what was happening 20 years ago in people's businesses to get them rolling, right? But you have to grab it and embrace it. Just like everybody isn't going to grab a jackhammer and start using it. You got to learn to use the shovel first and this, build it up. So you could then use all this other stuff like that. Cool. So folks, as we go, if you have questions, concerns, or comments that you want to do, do drop it in the note. Let us know where you are. We know our friends in Ghana and so forth are listening all the time. And so what we want to do, and why I might lost you, yes, what we want to do now is to look at these questions that is on the table. And we'll start out by these powerful quotes. So we said, until the lion tells his story, side of the story, the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. That's the African proverb. And then something to think about says that we telling our tech identity now, Bahamian innovators, Caribbean creators, we the lion and entrepreneurship is our raw, right? So how have you seen tools allowing companies to become to raw and not just be struggling, because they say companies normally in the infant companies normally struggle the first 3 to 5 years before they break even. But I've seen some companies like come out of COVID and some rolling from day one kind of thing, and
It's a state. It's a state of mind. All right, point of sale systems and computers, CRM, customer relationship management tools. Again, it's person advantage of the tools that are available. Most of us don't. Okay, we heavily rely on our own intuition in most cases to drive our businesses. When most entrepreneurs, to be honest, we don't know everything. All right, we don't take advice. Most of us don't take advice very well. All right, you can recommend we use social media, but social media is really only the present. It's very hard to do call to action on social media, so you have to be a bit more interactive. All right, you have to be data driven. All right, and then you have to know how to use the information that you're gathering. All right, how do we reach our customers? Our customers are where are they from? What do they want, or their likes and their dislikes? All this is information. All right, you from a optimistic perspective, when you're looking at companies starting out, we do the bare minimum in most cases. All right, but most of the software that's available in most companies, they have a lot of powerful tools built in that we don't take advantage of. All right, most of them come at a cost, on additional costs. Some entrepreneurs may not have, but those are the tools necessary in order for us to scale to a place where we can be valued, not only in goods but also in services. Across this island, most companies in the Bahamas, we don't sell. People buy from us. And those are two different things, because we're not concerned with getting customers. They're going to come anyway. To some degree, you just have to exist. All right. Some companies, right. All right. And you could, by accident, yes. Okay. You don't hear every day somebody creates an app and becomes a billionaire.
Right.
All right. But it does happen. And so you're getting into a space where, in a technological space, even as a country, we're not using technology to our advantage to a point where we can scale to this $100 billion that you would like to see happen. All right, we're very much dependent. Most of our goods and services, we import majority of the things that we have in the Bahamas. And most of our skill sets are very bare minimum. So our offerings are very limited, even amongst ourselves. We cater to persons without the expectation that they will earn, because you probably more geared towards volume. But customer retention is a valuable asset in any business. It's easier to retain your customer, obviously, than to get a new one. It's marketing 101. All right, when you look at analytics, business intelligence, understanding the value of the data that can be collected over a period of time, it will blow a lot of people's minds if they use the data, how to use the data accordingly. We only use the computers for ones and zeros and to create letters. Search on Google and YouTube, the surface web. But it's a lot more to it. If we take a closer look at what's available, tools that we can actually be taking advantage of.
Yeah. So most people, I find, are afraid of technology, right? And so when I said we're gonna be talking about this today, some of the people told me, well, that ain't my space. I said, but everything is your space. It's just that you don't know what is your space. You might feel like you don't, but you don't have to be a tech head to benefit from these tools that is available to you, right?
No, you don't.
You learn how to use the internet. You learn how to use social media. You learn all these other things that you use, and straight through. It's the same process.
Same process, just different. Yeah, it's coming at you in different angles or in different ways. I would call it, right? We book airline tickets, travel. We use Expedia. We go to travel agent. It's all data. Right? And when we look at that from a security perspective, the truth is we hand over a lot of our information just to basically get by without even thinking about it. All right. Passport, we book tickets. We're doing all these things from a security perspective. We hand over information. We don't keep and store information anymore. Like I say, a cell phone is a second brain, or in most
Yeah.
cases, the
See,
primary
that's
brain.
why ain't nothing in here now because they done burn up everything.
So I'm right with you. All right, but we have to get to a place where we begin using technology to our advantage instead of
Yeah.
having technology use us.
Right.
All right, extremely important.
Yeah. So one of the questions on the table is, do innovators and creators share the same complacent mindset, waiting one's turn and complying with established structure as most professionals have been taught to follow, right? And so, that's the system of old. But today's the innovators and the creators and with AI and the rest of those, for people who don't like to follow that, to me,
Right, but
this seems to be
well,
the
you see, this
space
is
they
where
need to be in.
artificial intelligence and machine learning. This is where it comes in. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I think I learn a skill set, but they don't expand on that skill set, so they're limited to the skill set that they've learned maybe 5, 10 years ago. Looking at artificial intelligence and machine learning from a computer's perspective, it's constantly learning. All right, so human beings, we need to take focus of what actually is happening. Technology is able to pivot and adjust based on the circumstances of the past, present, and future. All right,
Right.
it can project. All right, and so if I would only be afraid of the technology, number one, if I don't understand it. Number two, if I'm basically asleep. If you're paying attention, you can always stay ahead of the curve. Technology is there for us to use. All right, not for technology to use us.
Right.
All right, it can help us in many different ways from a business and an entrepreneurial perspective.
Right. So when I was at that telecom company, technology is a turnover every 3 to 6 months on the most part. I'm imagining now,
Right.
because that's been almost 10 years, that technology is turning over way faster, right? And so when we look at that, then people have this fear as to if they get into space, all the information can get lost out there, and people gonna know everything about them and this and that. And I'm like, okay, well, what if it's good for people to know everything about you, so it makes your life easier? You don't have to go doing the searches. They send in the information to you. You only need to choose, right? And then you
True,
need to
it could
choose
be.
the
I can
tools.
see where it could be I can see where it could be a double-edged sword.
Right, yeah.
Again, from
So,
a security perspective, you don't hand over all of your data information in cyberspace. Yes, but it's necessary in most cases.
right.
All right, because we actually, in fact, we're only end users. We don't control the narrative, so to speak.
Right.
Right.
So the
Most of us
question is,
protect-
what will be considered a secure Bahamas, the digital Bahamas, to give people comfort as to how they could be in this space without feeling that they're vulnerable. Because to
data
go into
needs to.
digital business, then you really need to. Because I have some friends who don't have anything digital in their business. They refuse to connect. They are still so old school. It ain't funny.
I want to say they're in the right space, but they're gonna get left behind because we're light years ahead. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes a manual system. It takes too long to process. Data and information we need faster process, and human beings to some degree, we're emotional. All right, a lot goes on. So you're tired. A computer is just going to do what it should be doing. But to get to a place, or to answer the question, Happy, we have to get to a place in the Bahamas where we actually can build out and secure data onshore.
Okay.
I don't see that happening no time soon. Right. So most of the processes that take place or we take advantage of, it's not in the Bahamas.
But does that mean that we don't have the skill sets to do it, or does that just mean that we have not applied ourselves to do it?
I think a bit of both, right? Cost for one. As far as us maintaining proper data on large or big data onshore, especially being a hurricane belt as well, that's a gray area. But nonetheless, it's possible for us to be able to secure our own data. But a lot has to happen. All right. The clients, we are, Amazon Web Services, Azure, Alibaba Cloud. Data is stored in many different places out of our jurisdiction, and we have no control over this information besides a login or ability to access this information, but it's not here. All right. And so it's somewhere. We could say it's secure, but it's somewhere. It's on a computer somewhere around the world, but we can't physically go and say this is my server. We've moved or moving away from that particular type of physical environment. All right. Cost of infrastructure to manage, maintain, upgrade. It's cheaper to pay Google, Microsoft, Amazon to house and store your information. If client asks,
but some very critical stuff, we should create a space where we could store some of the very critical stuff, because we can't just rely on other people to reproduce it when we need it.
No. Medical records, etc., all these things should be stored definitely locally, backups, etc.
So from a mentality point of view, we still need a ways to grow in order to get the wanting to do that type of stuff then.
Yeah, in order for us to become less dependent, yes, the focus has to be in the tech space to a point where, we are less dependent on external sources and, technology that we can take advantage of to the point where it's at risk.
Yeah.
All right. We can have our own data center, or businesses can have our own local cloud or, private clouds that we can have access to. But as of now, the big tech giants primarily dominate the space when it comes to data storage, servers, and resources. They dominate the space.
Yeah, you're starting to fade out. Your picture getting blurry, so I don't know if your internet failing. You can still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you, Abby.
Okay. So for small businesses, because that's where we can start out first, right? And some people believe you just start as a big business, but everybody got to go through small to medium to big. What is the most overlooked cybersecurity risk right now that people should pay attention to so that they could build the confidence at space?
Most small and medium businesses and small businesses don't have firewalls and do not or have the ability to invest in proper security or software security. Ransomware, obviously, that's the one of the most dangerous variants we have on the internet today. Making sure their operating systems are up to date, proper firewalls, and then networks are properly secured. That is an area vastly overlooked for small businesses. One, some entrepreneurs or small business owners just don't know that is an avenue that puts them at risk. Not doing proper patches or even migrating, Windows 10 is no longer supported. Would they upgrade if the hardware can facilitate Windows 11? And making sure that migration takes place, or very much so working hand in hand with their local tech professionals to make sure that they're getting the best advice. Systems are always patched up to mitigate any sort of risk that they could, because a small business can't take a hit. And so they should be very focused on ensuring that their systems are always patched. All right, logically, we can talk about budget, but there are a lot of things that we can do from a small business perspective that would not break the bank in order for us to be safe.
Cool. All right. So then with the growing digital threats, how can we shift the mindset from reaction to resilience, especially in small island states like ours?
Like I just stated, just pay attention to the small things. Cybersecurity, making sure you're a proper, good working firewall that's up to date. I recommend specific firewalls that have proper licensing that can mitigate against these threats, because a firewall or a router would be your ins and outs of any network, and that's the first line of defense. All right. Providers now are giving you internal IP addresses that can protect you. So in essence, you have to go to a service provider's environment in order to get access to a client's machine. But it still doesn't negate the fact that you're still vulnerable to some degree and open for attack.
Cool. So, folks, don't forget that you can ask your questions if you want. I know we get a lot of knowledge being dropped here, but we appreciate and look forward to making it a community discussion. This is under the tree. We can't see the tree, but that's the way we roll here.
Under the tree.
How are Bahamian businesses currently using AI, if at all, and where do you see untapped potential?
Primarily, we're not using artificial intelligence. Well, it's being primarily used behind the scenes in social media. I haven't seen it. That's the most vastly used tool that we use. But so it's not being used directly.
For consumerism then.
Right. It's being used indirectly. All right. So business intelligence, they're not actually implementing any sort of AI technologies like you see larger international companies with. All right. So our tool to date to drive sales, marketing, or grow our businesses or to reach our customers is social media. Social media is the primary tool. Obviously, behind the scene, we would have artificial intelligence built in. Once you log in, you create campaigns, you set your target market. All this is with the information that's available behind the scene that's analyzed in order for you to do your target marketing. So the AI is being used in most cases in small businesses here in the Bahamas, but indirectly. That answers your question, not directly.
Yeah, and that indirectly is, as you mentioned, because it's indirectly, somebody else has control. Whereas if you did it yourself, you could tweak it and optimize it for your specific purpose, which will even add another level of efficiency in your process. All right. So what your take on the fear that AI might replace jobs? Could it actually open doors for new kinds of work here in the 242?
Currently, I don't see it. For me, no, not personally. Professionally, no, because most of we have a very small sector where we have skill minds that's needed. The vast majority of the Bahamian, the Bahamas across the islands, we're talking, hotels, basic layman. All right. So in order for AI to have an impact we have to replace humans essentially. I don't see no time. So Bahamians are very interactive. We're very social. All right. And most persons flood to the Bahamas or tourists to the Bahamas because we have that social aspect about it. You can't replace a Bahamian, okay, with a machine. We're not going to get the results and the influx of visitors. It just is not one sector. We can see a decline because people come for this. All right, persons visit the Bahamas for this. You're not going to see a robot downtown directing traffic or in a tour guide. It's not the same experience. And so when we look at artificial intelligence and machine learning, you will see that's more prevalent, more or less warehousing, manufacturing. That sort of those sort of industry is not. It can't replace fishing industry. It can't replace
processes
tourism.
And stuff.
Right, and so you have to look at it in that aspect. Not to say a fear of. So if a person's have the fear that AI or computers will now replace us, we have to first, replace you from doing what? Because all it's doing is basically, all right? It can't actually do these things. All right?
Yeah. Boy, been some time now. Has it been in like 2009, 2008? I went at one of the conferences and the gentleman said to me when we were talking about AI and the rest of them, because AI ain't just come about, right? But so he said to me that you all have some skills in the Bahamas and one of them is called warmth. And he said warmth AI and machines will not replace that. So we'll see how creative they create these things, but that is the case. So Earl Carey is saying, as you talked about point of sales being a source of data collection and mentioned big data,
Right.
how can I amplify the value a business owner can get from their post data use of AI and the data they collect?
Well, number one, once you collect this information in your sale, now you turn around, now you query your database using artificial intelligence. Because if I query my point of sale over a period of time, I collect sales data, customer data over a period of a year. All right. I now query my data. I know who my customers are. I know how often they come. I know what do they buy, how much do they spend.
And when
Because I'm collecting this, when they spend it, right? I can now generate value by me being able to target that customer and get them back in the store because I know Happy buys X every so often. We can send them a discount, a coupon, a voucher as next purchase or sale specifically to him. All right. So we're not spamming Happy. We understand customer behavior, and this is business intelligence. This is exactly what we should be. This is the direction we should be headed in business. All right. But we collect this information, but we pretty much just send everything's general. It's not targeted because because we're not actually using the data with intent. Okay. We only gather the information to send a general email, a post.
Right.
All right. I'm selling garden tools or it's on sale. And I go to every customer, but every customer doesn't buy books.
Right.
You follow? And so we don't want it, so we ignore it. Because you're not going to drive sales by wasting time. So you have to have intent and gathering this information, being able to understanding how to use this information is the value.
And that's why I told people that why I like YouTube so much, because when I'm doing my searches and trying to find information on certain things, it learns that and then it sends me credible stuff related to that. So it kills my search time for one, and then it doesn't give me a bunch of stuff that I got to filter through. And what you're saying is basically the same thing for your business. Condenses it. Yeah. Right, that's what I'm saying. So what you're saying is that same process basically is AI does that for your business if you use the tools efficiently and proficiently. Yeah. Ooh, that's great, man. Made me almost want to go back into business again. Cool. He has a follow-up here. Says, where do dashboards fit into all of this?
All customizable. Because your dashboard will be based on business type of data that you could and how you want to use those tools. All right. I think you're speaking from more of a development perspective. In most cases, we're limited to point of sale or the application or the program that you buy or you implement in your business. That will have the capability that you can use these tools. And most of the POS now have CRM, so you can do customer relationship management and be able to target these customers once you were to query your database. So not so much high-end AI, but the ability now to query these databases and collect information that you need where you can scale.
And that's what we do here. In old school, my grandfather and the rest of them, and people used to run the numbers thing, they used to do everything in their head. So nowadays, because there's nothing more powerful than this. This gray matter between the 6 inches of gray matter there, right? Including AI and the rest of them, right? That's my feeling on the whole process. All these things are just trying to catch up with us. The question is, are we using the gray matter we have to the best of our ability? So that's...
Well, the ones who fear artificial intelligence, probably not. But again, if you're one to be a thinker and you understand, then AI now just becomes a tool.
Yeah, but once people get comfortable with it, then they start to do what other people are doing. That's what we like to do. We like to copy now. We ain't worried about that. So if other people
social media marketing comes in.
Yeah.
That's our primary tool.
Yeah, for now. Yeah. So what are the realistic first steps for local entrepreneurs looking to explore AI in their operations?
Well, I would first look at the applications that I primarily use and see what capabilities that has, because that's also important. You first have, we go to vendors and we buy, and I'm just speaking point of sale just to generalize everything, right? Primarily, but we have to, it has the capability where we can actually use the data that's being collected in a conducive way to grow business by percentage base. All right. So, but at the point of, we need to gather this information. So we have to start there. The bare basic is to at least start input information. We have to say, get email addresses, telephone numbers, and then we can attach each customer with those sales. When you look, and so you will have enough clean data that you can use, very basic, that you can reach out clients again to get repeat business. And that's the bare minimum. So even from artificial, it starts with us, just even collecting the information data, because if it's a private system, obviously it's not exposing you to external databases, only whatever it is that we enter. All right. And so we have to now begin our businesses generating data. Adding telephone numbers, email addresses, anything, whether it be if pet store, a cat, a dog, what type of food do they buy, what do they like, what do they don't like, and then you can use that information later on to add value to the business. And at that point, you now begin selling, and persons are just not buying.
No, and I find that tools like AI and so forth are powered by AI. An entrepreneur, or particularly a new entrepreneur, best friend, because when I started my business, I found, okay, you didn't have the budget to do all of the things that you need to do. And so you were fighting time of the 24 hours of the day to try to do as much of it as you can. But with these tools, a lot of the background processing time that you would have done and try to do in the 24 hours, you were able to now become more efficient at doing it, and you could end up getting more done in the 24 hours. And then as you build up, then you could add more employees to duplicate yourself, because that's what Ray Kroc said, that you can't succeed in business unless you duplicate yourself. But that's a different avenue.
You have to, but that's the only way, that's part of scaling. One person can't do everything. One person can't do everything.
So this question on the table here is, you blend tech expertise with the entrepreneurial spirit. How has that shaped your work in Consolidated Technologies? Because folks, this guy really, I tell you, he's modest. He's not going to tell you about all of the great things that he do and stuff. So other people got to say it for him, right? But this is a visionary. That's the best way I could put it. And he will put together solutions for you that you don't even dream could even exist. But
primarily for me, tech and entrepreneur, basically, you have to have a mind frame or approach everything. You have to understand customer behavior and anything that we do outside even technology, right? I just use the technology and the know-how in order to help drive and sustain my business over the years. All right. So being able to analyze the world around me and all the information and the relationships that I built over the years is how we're able to sustain and grow at the same time. So we can stay at a specific level and we can scale because we're paying attention to what's actually most important. All right. And using tools is one way on a daily basis that we're able to meet or exceed customer expectations. So tech is very much involved in business processes on a daily basis. Maybe to the point where we actually should pay far more attention to technology to help drive our businesses. Like you say, you have a friend who doesn't use any technology.
Right.
All right. Post office today is pretty much non-existent. That would be considered legacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We replaced the post office with email, electronic mail. All right. And from a technology perspective, it's the exact same thing. We only virtualize the whole process. All right. Because 60 or 80 years ago, I would write Happy a letter. The postman will come collect that letter, take it to the post office,
run through the
deliver the mail, which is my Yahoo or my Google. All right. Happy receives the letter. Okay. And vice versa. And the process repeats. We just replace what we already know. And so some persons have a fear of technology because they don't understand that it's actually just built off of real life experiences.
Right.
There's nothing different about it. And so not that, we geniuses or we understand the space. No, that's not it. We just understand the basic process of which technology exists. And that's a fundamental principle. Yeah. All right. When you go to your browser, you put your key in, that's just your password. That's your physical key to unlock your mail from your mailbox.
Open your front
door.
And
if you close the browser without signing out, that's equivalent to you leaving your mailbox open and just walking out of the post office. I see it the exact same way.
Right.
So technology, it's simple. Just have to pay attention to the processes and understand that it's just based off of real life experiences. Nothing crazy about it.
Right. I always tell people tools really don't do anything for you but to make you more efficient, because it's only making the functions that you could already do more efficient, right? Whether you get in a car is a tool, so you could get from one place to the next place faster. So,
yes.
But you got to still get to the other place. You just would walk and take longer.
Right? Yes.
So what does tech entrepreneurship uniquely look like in the Bahamas context? What challenges and advantages do we face?
The challenge is, I think, mindset primarily.
Okay.
All right. Again, we have to see it for what it is, and we have to see value in the tech space, and use that as a springboard to get us to the next level where we need to be. All right. It doesn't replace us. It adds value to us. All right. It's an extension out. All right. And so the challenge is basically having an open mind towards technology. All right. Of course, and the advantages that we would face is a growth in business. Period. All right. No matter what form of life you hail from, it's we have to understand and be the value in analyzing information.
I mean, that's the key right there, because I mean we talk about ICTs all the time and stuff like that, and that's basically what it is. Information and communication is critical to any business and any relationship, and that's all a business is to me, is a relationship. Yeah,
that's all it is, just being able to analyze what's in front of us, use it to our advantage.
Okay, so how can we build this ecosystem that nurtures tech startups, especially those for young Bahamians, right? Because we got to get to this $100 billion economy, and I'm a strong believer that particularly the generations Y and Z, who are native to this space, will be, once they get their foot in a vehicle that will allow them to expand. Excuse me, then they're going to blossom in entrepreneurship. Go ahead.
I agree wholeheartedly. As far as an ecosystem, I think it starts with conversations like this. We need to have more conversations. We need to have more platforms and forums where we can enlighten young Bahamians to take advantage of this space, because it isn't native at this present point in time by Bahamians. All right. Currently, we use the tools available to us, but the average person coming back, university or college, we don't develop. We just use tools that are available to us. And so we have to get to a place where we develop, we manage and we maintain, we build until we get to this point, and it starts with conversations, putting our resources together in order to see this come to fruition. If we are decentralized, like the blockchain, all right, we need to come together. We can make these things happen locally, all right, without having to depend on, again, external goods and services from outside.
Right. Well, they always say that 3 chords is stronger than 1. So, yeah.
3 chords are stronger than 1.
Cool. So, Kanisha says that how reliable is AI in understanding one's business? I think that's what we've been talking most of the time.
It's very reliable. I'll tell you why. Because the AI will only give you what's available in your business specifically. It's not general. Right, what you give it. So all the information that's available in the business, and AI can analyze the data and give you the best possible outcome reports that's available. So it's based on the information that you give it. All right.
And,
so information, information gathering.
My experience is that you give it some information, and it comes back with something, and you give it some more information to fine tune it. And very shortly, it will start learning how you think.
What it is that you want to do, and it gives you the best possibility or best outcome. All right.
Quicker than what it did the first time. Yeah.
That's right. Right. And it learns and it understands. You could want to do X. It tells you, you're still at B. In order for you to get to X, this is what we need to do in order to get to X based on the information or this point in time where we're currently at. AI, a human being can blow smoke, but AI doesn't. AI gives you it for what it is.
Right.
All right. And it gives you, it's just analytics. You could have a conversation with artificial intelligence.
Right. And I think it's Dr. Gary Chapman talked about the 5 love languages. AI will learn your language and speak to you in your language. And so it makes it easier for you to interpret versus when you get somebody up on the podium talking and you're trying to say, what are you talking about? Right? He might be making plenty of sense, but you mightn't be able to connect with that. I find AI helps you really in that space.
It's a guide and direct.
Yeah. And Johnson, I don't know how you pronounce that first name. Now, how does AI affect cognitive development?
That all depends on the individual. Not all of us think alike. Again, listen to the conversation that we're having now. All right, and so that's a relative question. All right, one person can see or use AI in one fashion, and someone else can use it in another. All right, so it's basically relative. All right, I could use AI to just ask questions, find answers, or solve a problem. All right, and on the flip side, Expedia can use AI just to analyze ticket prices across multiple platforms very, very quickly,
right?
And get results in a short period of time. So AI is extremely unique, and it's unique. The very fact that it is intelligent, it adjusts based on the current need or the demand that's placed on it. So it's all relative.
Right.
That's the whole point of the AI in the first place. It doesn't. It's not guided by a fixed set of rules. All right. With machine learning on the back end, it's designed to adjust based on circumstance. So it's constantly changing, just like how we change our mind. You can pick out a black shirt right now, and you can turn around and go to the closet. You can turn around and put on a white shirt.
Right.
It doesn't, and that's how AI thinks. It's very open, based on a lot of different variables.
Cool. So, flipping the build now, we need to build this new built environment in a couple of seconds. So, from fiber optics to firewalls, how important is foundational infrastructure to building the smart 242?
Very important. Well, the island now primarily is wired with NASA in particular. across the island, unlike the outer islands, right? Between BTC and cable. All right. But that only goes to
by the way, before you go on, the Bahamas is the most digitally connected country in this region, the world's one region, including Canada and the United States per square mile.
Yeah, but we're very dense. We're very dense compared to United States and Canada. All right, but the fiber optics at this present point in time is the fastest medium we're going to get in technology. Nothing's going to be primarily faster than nothing faster than our universe, faster than light. All right, and so the infrastructure is already there as far as the foundation. So we have the infrastructure. I guess the fundamental question would be, how do we use it?
Right.
It already exists. We do have it. All right. And the providers are already rolling out fiber to the business, fiber to the, all right, and converting to faster speeds. All right. So we're already there. It's basically how we use it on the end side.
Right. And so you flow right into this next question, which was based on trying to build this $100 billion economy, then what would be the first three priorities that we should step in being able to make that smart space?
The first priority is to make the smart space. Begin working towards.
So we have the foundation, the digital foundation. So we talk about the security, and we talk about AI as a tool. So now we want to put all these things together to build this $100 billion economy, or the smart country, the 2 for 2. So what would be the top three priorities or things that you think we need to focus on so we could accelerate that process?
Primarily, education, and education.
Well, that's what we're about today. Yeah.
Well, we talk about all these technologies, but we are at the average. All right. And so that needs to be the primary focus. And the technology will come after. And the understanding and the use and the implementation, the designs, the management, the maintenance will come after. All right. We can't get to a point where we build out this infrastructure. And we have yet to manage and maintain it.
Yeah.
So all right. So primarily it would start with us, our own interest.
So we are people who are getting the averages, as they call it, who go into the shacks and create these wonderful, mind-blowing stuff that people from all around the world want, crave to get, and if they could buy it, they'll find a way to buy it. Yes. I believe that we are a kinetic society. And the colonial system was about academics. But they did that because they knew we were disadvantaged, that we weren't up to that power. And so it will, those who were academic will always show higher, right? So I'm thinking that the same thing will apply to people who are natively digital in particular, and not only the native digitals, but people who think and people who want to be entrepreneurs could come into this space and build huge, great, fantastic things. They just need to do it. As Nike said, just do it. Don't wait. Because with the tools will allow you to do it faster and adjust faster.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I agree. No, I think that's exactly the direction we need to head, and we just need to make up our minds. I think we can do it. And to build a digital economy that we can manage and maintain internally meaning in the Bahamas, I'm thinking it's definitely doable. We have a lot of bright minds.
And folks, our economy is only 10 or 12, between 10 to 14 billion dollars. Imagine if we get $100 billion, what we could do? Taxes should disappear.
Yes.
Or these taxes for us should disappear.
Yes. Well, we like to see that happen, Happy. That's very optimistic. I like your view.
No, man, but it could happen because I'll tell you, when I came home from school in '86 and we would start a digital movement in the Bahamas, people were saying you can't this, you can't that. And today, because of all of that, you get people who get cell phones in their hands and they're doing all kind of nice things on their cell phone, some things destructively. But
That's the second brain. That's the second.
Sometimes you gotta learn from it first before you could do anything good with it. But I think the Bahamians have it too good also. So they don't tend to want to look for creative ways to make money out of tools. Because there's always some sugar daddy or some slow 20 fella or some this or whatever who boosts in our income.
But again, it starts with a mindset. Once we have changed our mindset to a point where we can see the advantage of the tools that we have available to us, then you will see the change. All right. And Gandhi said it best: be the change you want to see in the world. So everybody needs to pay attention to what it is they're doing. And then they will see the impact.
All right. So what final message you have for Bahamian creatives, founders, and youth who want to play a role in building the digital future, but don't know where to start?
Okay, this is a start by asking the question and showing the interest. So I think the starting has already begun. We have lots of young Bahamian entrepreneurs, tech-minded persons interested in seeing the Bahamas get to a place where we can take advantage of technologies that are available in other countries and taking advantage of these technological advancements in their jurisdiction. Right? Again, it simply starts with a conversation, connecting with the right persons frequently, advocating and making this happen. And at some point in time, ensuring that we organize and get government bodies involved in the same arena. Because right now, moving forward, nothing is happening in any sector without the power of technology. It's all data driven. Every sector is data driven.
Yeah, very much so.
Every sector is data driven.
Cool. So, folks, like I said, this is a very modest fella. He's not going to talk about this stuff, but if you want to get in contact with him, his company is called Consolidated Technologies Company. So, excuse me, my throat getting all Google up. But no, maybe you could just tell them what the main contact number is so that they could get a hold of you. Yeah.
Well, I could be reached primarily 357-4443 or Noel, Noel, Consolidated Technologies, GIES.biz, Bravo, India, Zulu.
Cool. All right. So I asked you plenty questions. I know you want to ask me plenty questions, but that you got called. Come on the show and ask me them questions yourself. But what would you want to share with people out there that we haven't covered that you think would be important for this journey and to help them build their businesses from scratch to something strong?
I think primarily, I touched on it already, I think primarily we need to pay attention to the needs of the consumer to help build our business. Every business thrives on consumption, whether it be goods or services, irrespective of, right? Primarily, it's either goods or service. If we pay attention to information gathering and those tools outside of even AI, just analyzing the database, understanding your customer, and seeing who they are, and get to a point where you can eventually take advantage of more powerful tools like artificial intelligence to help grow, drive your business, and make an impact. Right? It's primarily just paying attention.
And so people would normally need a mentor or a cheerleader and stuff like that. Do we have those in this space that people could tap into? I know we have the government has some scenarios, but I think they are more general and not necessarily specific to digital.
Specific. To my knowledge, no. I mean, well, of course, I'm always accessible as best I possibly could throughout the day, weeks, and months. My contact is out there. Your listening audience, anyone can send me a message, an email, and I'll be more than happy to reach out.
Awesome. Maybe that's something that they could work on, trying to get some working groups or forums and stuff to focus on that if they don't already exist. Well, it's been a pleasure having you. I said I'd keep you for an hour. It went over 20-some seconds. Mm-hmm. And
it's a lot of things we haven't touched base on, but it's not enough time. Maybe another time.
Yeah, if you could, you're always welcome to come back, because one thing I know about you get plenty in your head. And putting in your head in the cloud. So
they keep in the cloud.
Yeah. And people always ask me, what's the cloud, right? What's the cloud? I said, boy, the cloud is there. You can't touch it, you can't feel it, but it's there.
It's there. That's right. That's a good description.
Cool. Well, you tell my good friend, that little one, I am very appreciative that she gave you all of this time with me today. When I know she was looking forward to spending time with you, because you are that consummate family man, and I appreciate it much.
I appreciate you too, Happy.
I won't hold you much more. So till next time, enjoy, have fun, and so forth, right? So, folks, you've been watching Something to Think About with Dale Happy Knowles, and we've hopefully you found some nuggets out of this and get some value. And if you did, do hit the like, share buttons, follow us, ask your questions on the chats that is below. If you didn't get to do it now, the shows stay up online. So even though you might not have seen it live, you could still ask your questions, and we'll endeavor to answer them in the chats. And so until next time, as we move forward from strength to strength, we ask you to be safe and so forth.
Enjoyed the show? Then subscribe to us for more educational and inspirational content. Ring the bell so you never miss a show. Let's change the narrative, 242.